At Matrix Power Services, our mission is to provide quality services in a professional manner to the power generation industry through our team of dedicated employees with three core values deeply ingrained: safety, quality, and production.
Our vision is to strive every outage, every day, and every shift to operate only to the highest standard that our leaders, our employees, and our customers have collectively defined with respect to our community and the environment.
To bring that vision into reality, we infuse pride within the company as our driving force, absorbing committed, motivated employees that effectively communicate. We encourage growth of our business through continuous improvement of oneself and our culture.
Please pay attention to the following presentation that outlines Matrix Power Service safety policies. This video will be followed by a quiz, so if at any point you would like further clarification on a topic, please ask your instructor. Risk assessment. A job hazard analysis, JHA, is a technique that focuses on the relationship between the worker, the task, the tools, and the environment to eliminate and prevent hazards in our workplace. It is a valuable tool for training new employees in the steps required to perform the job safely, as well as one of the best ways to improve your work procedures. All Matrix employees are required to read and sign the JHA prior to starting work, acknowledging the hazards, warnings, and procedures associated with completing a given task. At the end of your shift, or when your task is complete, you must sign off on the JHA confirming you've safely completed your task. You must attend the daily safety meeting at the start of your shift given by your supervisors and sign the daily toolbox talk. When you get in your work area, if you recognize any hazards not identified in the JHA, immediately report it to your supervisor. Personal protective equipment. The following PPE is required: black hard hat with bill facing forward, white for supervisors and foremen, safety glasses, hearing protection, long sleeves and long pants, steel-toed boots. Additional PPE may be required to include, but not limited to, gloves, respirator, burn jacket or sleeves, and the proper face shield for welding, grinding, and cutting. You are responsible for the equipment issued to you. Soft hoods, welding shields, and earbuds are not authorized. Emergency evacuation procedures. Matrix employees will follow the host facility's emergency action plan. The evacuation will be directed by the control room. On your first day at the facility, you must know where the muster point and control room is located and the different alarm notifications. This information will be covered in the facility's site-specific orientation. When you get to your work area, you must know what floor you are on, where the nearest plant phone, fire extinguisher, and eye wash station is located, as well as your best escape route in case of emergency. Cell phones, photographs, audio and video recording. Cell phone, texting, the internet, gossip, and social media can negatively affect quality of work, employee morale, and leader-employee relationships. A distraction can impact almost every aspect of any job. Cell phones are allowed in the facility if you are a supervisor or a foreman. Housekeeping. You are responsible for the setup of your work area. Walking and working surfaces must remain clean and orderly. We have trash bags. Use them. Specifically, keeping tools, cords, and materials organized. Tools are kept in a bucket, not on the working platform. If you are done with a specific tool, bring it back to the trailer. Pay attention to specific PPE disposal requirements as some facilities differ. Stairways, emergency exits, and fire extinguishers must not be blocked. All lead, extension cord, air lines, and twin line must be run overhead. If it cannot be run overhead, mark it with caution tape and tag as a tripping hazard. Do not use welding wire to hang cords and leads. Secure lines with zip ties. Ensure there is adequate lighting in your workspace. Immediately replace light bulbs if blown out. Every shift, take the time to set up your area properly prior to starting work. Ground fault circuit interrupters, GFCI. A ground fault occurs when there is a break in the low resistance grounding path from a tool or electrical system. The electrical current may then take an alternate path to the ground through the user, resulting in serious injury. The GFCI is a fast-acting circuit breaker designed to shut off electrical power in the event of a ground fault within as little as 1/40th of a second. Matrix requires GFCIs on all outlets. The proper way to use a GFCI is to plug it into the receptacle, then the electrical product is plugged into the GFCI. Inspect all cords for damage or cuts, and extension cords must have 3 prongs. Hand tools. Matrix requires you to inspect your tools before each use. If a guard is missing or equipment is damaged, immediately take that tool to the trailer. Ensure that it is tagged with "Do Not Use." Grinder safety. Do not remove the guard. It protects the operator from broken wheel fragments. You must unplug the grinder when changing the wheel to reduce the risk of starting the tool accidentally. Always use the tool with the side handle installed and keep both hands on the tool at all times during use. In a rare circumstance that requires you to remove the handle, you must receive permission from your supervisor first. No exceptions. Use clamps or other practical ways to secure and support the workpiece to a stable platform. Holding the work by hand or against your body is unstable and may lead to loss of control. Do not overreach. Maintain proper footing and balance at all times. Position your body and arms to allow you to resist kickback forces. Hot work, grinding, welding, cutting. Hot work requires a permit and fire watch. The fire watch must remain in the area for 30 minutes after the hot work is completed. Prior to starting any grinding, welding, or cutting, always check the permit for proper date and termination time. Remove all flammables and combustibles from the area. Look above and below. Place fire blanket over grates and in other areas where needed. Get a charged fire extinguisher from the trailer. Put up blinds when needed, especially in high traffic areas. Always use the proper welding or face shield. Again, soft hoods are not authorized. Oxygen and acetylene bottle cots. Oxygen acetylene bottles must be separated by a metal barrier and properly secured with chains or wire. Do not use rope. Every shift, gauges and lines must be checked with a soapy water for leaks and paperwork completely filled out. Turn off bottles when not in use at the end of shift, as well as during breaks and lunch. If a cot is sitting for more than 24 hours, the setup needs to be broken down. Gas cylinders not in use must be stored correctly with caps on and in their proper designated cages. Lockout tagout. The purpose of lockout tagout is to prevent injury to servicing and or maintenance employees due to the unexpected energization or startup of machines and equipment or release of stored energy. You must bring your lock and tag to work with you each shift. It literally represents your life. Clearly write the following information on your tag: your full name, phone number, and matrix power in permanent marker. Manila tags are not authorized. Your supervisor will inform you on the lockout tagout procedures for each outage. Know what is covered under the lockout before starting any work. You are responsible for locking out prior to starting the work and signing in on the lockout tagout sheet. At the end of your shift, do not forget to take your lock off and sign out. Confined space entry. A confined space has limited or restricted means for entry or exit and is not designed for continuous occupancy. Confined space are classified into 3 categories: permit required, non-permit required, and alternate confined space. A permit required confined space has the potential for hazardous atmosphere, engulfment or entrapment, falling debris, and or lack of ventilation. A non-permit required confined space has the characteristics of a confined space, however, does not contain physical or atmospheric hazards. In an alternate confined space, you must follow the 2-man rule, meaning never work alone inside of the space. The host facility classifies the confined space, and your supervisor will inform you of the requirements for each area. Do not enter into a permit required confined space until you have the proper approval from your supervisor, you understand the hazards associated with the confined space, receive proper training, and you communicate with your attendant, hole watch. Do not enter into confined space unless there is adequate ventilation and the space has been tested for hazardous atmosphere. Confined space attendant. If you're an attendant, poll watch, you are responsible for the following: keeping a constant count on every person entering and exiting the confined space, recognizing symptoms of exposure, order an evacuation if anything inside or outside the space looks dangerous for the workers inside, calling control room for help from the trained emergency response team if anybody has to be rescued from the space. Respiratory protection. Respiratory protection must be worn when working inside the boiler and any time required by the facility or directed by your supervisor. Your face must be clean shaven in order for the respirator to properly protect you. Perform positive and negative fit tests each time you put on your respirator before entering a hazardous atmosphere. When your respirator is not in use, it must be in a sealed bag. Clean your respirator after each use. Cleaning supplies, paper towels, and bags are provided in the Matrix trailer. Do not bring a bottle of cleaning alcohol into the boiler house. An annual fit test will be performed by the safety department to ensure the respirator is properly protecting you. Danger and caution tape. Danger tape, red, is not to be crossed for any reason unless authorized to do so. Caution tape, yellow, stop, read tag, assess area, and proceed with caution if safe to do so. If you hang danger or caution tape, you are responsible for that area. You must ensure the tape is completely surrounding the hazardous area. The tape has the matrix tag and is completely filled out with your name, phone number, date, and the hazard. If you put the tape up, you are responsible for removing it when the hazard is no longer present. Rigging procedures. The first thing that must be completed is a rigging checklist. It is a vital tool for laying out and communicating the rigging plan. Completion of the checklist is required prior to and for every lift. All team members involved must sign the rigging checklist and maintain adequate communication throughout the entire process. The team is responsible for inspecting all rigging prior to using that equipment. This includes come-alongs, chain falls, trolleys, beam clamps, straps, chokers, and snatch blocks. Ensure you are checking the chain, hook, and mousetrap. Use red danger tape with a tag to properly mark off the lifting area. Do not use any defective equipment. If you see broken cables, missing tags, or mousetrap, bring it through the trailer and make sure that it is red taped and tagged with "Do not use." China-made shackles are not authorized. Tugger checklist must be completed by the responsible person when a tugger is used in rigging operations. Fall protection. Covanta and Wheeler-Brader facilities require Matrix employees to tie off over 4 feet. Leading edge work exposing an employee within 6 feet to a fall requires fall protection. Remember your ABCs: A, anchorage point; B, body harness; and C, connector, your lanyard, or retractable. You must tie off overhead and use the proper anchor point. The anchorage point must support 5,000 pounds. Wrapping a lanyard around a beam and connecting it to itself is not acceptable. Guardrails and midrails are not acceptable tie-off points. Fall protection beam clamps and beam straps are in the Matrix trailers. You must inspect your fall protection equipment prior to every use. Make sure the harness fits you properly and you are wearing it correctly. The D-ring must be in the center of your back. Do not mix or match fall protection manufacturers, harnesses, and lanyards. If you are unsure where or how to tie off, immediately ask your supervisor. Scaffolding. You must locate the scaffolding tag. Do not start working on scaffolding that has not been inspected daily. Green tag, scaffold is complete. Scaffolding must be fully planked with guardrails, midrails, and toe boards installed prior to you getting onto the platform. Yellow tag requires fall protection. Red tag, do not go onto scaffolding for any reason. Do not climb up the side of scaffolding. Proper access must be provided. Do not stand on midrail. You are not authorized to alter scaffolding for any reason. If scaffolding needs to be modified, immediately contact your supervisor. Ladders must be secured and extended at least 36 inches above platform. Step ladders must be used in the fully open position. Do not stand above the top 2 rungs of a ladder. Do not stand on a bucket. Take the time to get what you need to complete your task safely. Medical surveillance program. It is important for our employees to understand the hazards associated with working inside boilers and at the various facilities. Monitoring an employee's exposure level is a significant part of Matrix medical surveillance program. It is mandatory for Matrix employees to attend the scheduled training and medical appointments throughout the year. Hazard communication. A hard copy of the Matrix Safety Data Sheets, SDS, is located in the trailers as well as at the shop in Rhode Island. The control room has the host facility's safety data sheets. Do not use any spray bottles that are not properly labeled. If at any point you would like to review our hazard communication program, please contact the safety department. Chemical handling and spill prevention. If required to handle hazardous chemicals, review your job hazard analysis, which will identify the specific controls, procedures, and PPE requirements. Take special care when transporting materials. If a spill is to occur, cleanup kits are in the trailer. Notify supervisor immediately. Ergonomics. Think before you act. Ask yourself, is there a better way? Lift it right, move it right, and lower it right. A confidential employee assistance program is available for use by employees and their family through Close Line by calling 1-800-445-1195. All that is required is the caller identify their relationship to Matrix. No one at Matrix is notified of any contact made with EAP without their consent. A wide variety of services are available, including financial, legal, and counseling of all sorts. You may be referred to an outside source that require use of insurance or out-of-pocket expenses, but discounted services may be offered as a part of the program. Accident and incident reporting. Immediately report to your supervisor if an accident or incident is to occur during your shift. All injuries, no matter how minor, must be reported. There is a difference between an accident and an incident. An accident is an unfortunate event that happens unexpectedly and unintentionally. For example, a grinder wheel embedded in your face after it shatters and you did not have the proper face shield on or guard on that tool. An incident is an event or an occurrence happening because something or resulting from something. For example, flash burn after you remove your welding shield with no safety glasses on underneath or a barrier between the welders. If you are involved in an accident or an incident, there is paperwork that must be completed. Please do not leave the facility or seek medical attention without notifying your supervisor. For every facility we work at, the safety department has identified the nearest urgent care and hospital emergency rooms. We can direct you on where to go for the best treatment. First aid and bloodborne pathogen kits are in every Matrix trailer. Hazard recognition and mitigation. Hazard recognition is a key part of our injury and illness prevention program. If hazards aren't identified, then they can't be mitigated properly. This form is designed to help the company leadership as well as workers effectively identify hazards. Once recognized and addressed, the information is distributed throughout the organization. Substance abuse policy. All Matrix employees are considered to hold a safety-sensitive position within the organization. Matrix has defined safety-sensitive as a position where one's duties involve such a great risk of injury to others that even a momentary lapse of attention can have disastrous consequences. The use or possession of controlled substances while holding a Matrix safety-sensitive position is prohibited, except when the use is under the instruction of a physician who has advised the employee that the substance does not adversely affect the employee's ability to safely perform their daily job task. Additional information. Parking. Park only in designated areas for contractors. Smoking is authorized in the facility's designated areas only. Covanta facilities do not authorize tobacco and tobacco-related products anywhere on the facility grounds. Eat, drink, and smoke only in authorized areas. The boiler house is not an authorized area to eat, drink, or smoke cigarettes because it is an ash-laden area. Wash your hands before you eat, drink, or smoke, and launder clothes separately from other family members' clothes. Powered industrial trucks, PIT, do not operate forklifts, lulls, aerial or scissor lifts unless properly trained, certified, and authorized to do so by Matrix Power Services. If you have any questions at any time on the work site or work scope, Ask your supervisor before starting or continue to work. Each plant varies with their safety policies and procedures. However, Matrix policies must always be followed. If you fail to follow the safety policies that have been outlined in this video, you are subject to disciplinary action to include termination.
I'm John Chassie, Safety Director, Matrix Power Services. The Safety Department put together this video to ensure our employees clearly understand what is expected of every single member of this team. There is nothing more important to this company than providing a safe, healthy work environment in arguably some of the toughest working conditions. We value every one of our employees because each one of you bring a different skill and knowledge to a unique trade. We are a united front. We do the right thing and we will do it in the right way. There was a significant amount of information that was covered in this video. It applies to all of our employees, whether you've worked in the industry for 16 years or this is your first day. We will hold you accountable for what was outlined. Your participation in our safety program is critical for open communication, having a passion to work, and pride in your work. You are our greatest asset. We are here for you because we all have the same goals: to do our job well, but most importantly, to do it safely.
Won't you follow me into the jungle?